meeting just in case, so that we will absolutely and definitely have, at least for the lectures, always a recording. And I do. So my name is Esther Helga Gudmundsdóttir, and in my 100-year-old house here, my little historical town, with my dog and my cat. And I am at awe that this is really happening today. It feels to me like this is a historical moment. So it is kind of fun to be in a historical town, experiencing a new historical moment. And I just wanted to tell you that like half hour ago, I got, it was knocked on my door, and the former owner of this house was there going to visit, and he actually started 2 newspapers in this house. And early on in the last century, this used to be a house that would take in sick people and tend to them. It wasn't really a hospital, but it was a big house for that time period, and they would have people come here and attend to them while they were getting better, because there was a doctor in this town. So we have a lot of history, all of us, and I just want to say that the inFACT school is an international school for food addiction counseling, as you all know. And it is a school, and for me, school is not a know-it-all, but it is a place where we learn to get more information, and where we learn from each other and start a new progress. And what I am hoping for and aiming for with the inFACT is that we are basically a starting point for education for counselors in this field, but also in treatment. And we are lucky to have people that have been working in the field, some for almost 40 years. And we can for sure learn from these people, and some of them are here. And but we are also pioneers in this field, as you know, because we haven't really been accepted as a disease, or this has not really been accepted by the world as a disease. So it might be a little uphill for us. It certainly has been for me and many of my colleagues, some of which are doing this with me. And I know that if we're going to have any progress at all, we need to get professionals in with us, so that professionals will start having the knowledge and the understanding of this disease within wherever they are at. And we all need support. We need support for ourselves. We need support for each other. So I'm hoping that this school, and Maria, if you would please mute. Maria, can you hear me? Maria?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, can you please mute? Yeah. Okay, thank you. So I'm really hoping that this term, this school is a beginning point. And where it's going to end, I'm not going to try to know where that is. It's just a starting point. It's like a ground zero. And I know that we have a lot of experience that we stand on, and we need to use that, but we need to also find new grounds and add to whatever we know. So gathering information, picking your brain's wisdom and knowledge is one part. Oh, you're not muted still, Maria. I'll mute you.
I'm not?
No. You need to go down there with the arrow. You will see a mute. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I can go into a lengthy talk about what my vision is for this. I'm not going to really do that. I'm sure I'm going to, you know, become like a priest every once in a while talking. Today, I want to split the sessions up to, first of all, going over practicalities of the training, of the times, of the sessions, dividing you up to a study group, and explaining everything that might be unclear to you. Then I would like us, when we finish with that, I'd like us all to go around the room, and for each and every one that is willing and able to tell their name and you know, tell something about yourself, where you're coming from, your education, and maybe a little bit about what you're hoping to get out of this. And once we've all gotten acquainted, we will go into the first chapter of the student workbook. I will introduce the workbook for you and with you, and introduce the work for the next week coming, and and we will kind of see better how our work is cut out for us, hopefully for the term. So I just wanted to mention before we start that for sure I am not doing this alone, and I would never be able to, and I have a lot of gratitude to a lot of people. And one of them is here today. It's Bitten Jonsson from Sweden. We've got acquainted some years back, actually just soon after I started my recovery center for food addiction here in Iceland. I think I called her, and she was kind enough to talk to me, and we've been in contact, and more so in the last few years. And we got bitten to come to Iceland, and she was like a movie star here in Iceland. She's so charismatic, and you love her. She's here. She will introduce herself a little later. I'm going to use this opportunity also to thank Phil Wardell and Mary Fushi, who created the Acorn Professional Training, which is a training that I got to do when I started off. And it's an experimental training, and I'm hoping that parts of that training will become more like an advanced course for inFACT in the future. We'll see what happens with that. But we have Philip and Mary on board with us, and I think that I can say that with all the knowledge of the teachers included in this teachers, you know, the teachers of this training, Phil is incredibly knowledgeable about food addiction, about treatment of food addiction, and he's been doing it forever. And I feel really privileged that he is working with us on this, and he is helping me, as everybody else, on the workbook, including and reading it over, and on material to put in and give to you. He has a lot of material that we will be putting into this on Dropbox. Mary and Philip have come here to Iceland a few times, and we've done conferences on food addiction here in Iceland, and they have really been support to me and for me in my work here. Without them, I wouldn't be where I'm at this point. I also want to acknowledge Stefan Johansson and Sigurlína Davies. Those are Icelanders, and Stefan was actually a principal of the addiction school, counselor school here in Iceland, which was a training that I took a little over 10 years ago. And Stefan and Sigurlína are actually on the board of the Nordic Baltic regional board, and they are really the people that made it possible for me and us to get the material the ground material of the handbook to base this course on. And my vision was always to have a similar educational possibility for professionals or for anyone wanting to learn more, basically, as other addiction counseling was based on. IC and RC is an international regional certification regional board, and the Nordic Baltic is basically the European section of IC&RC. And what we are doing at this point is working in cooperation with the Nordic Baltic. They will be certifying this training. They go over all the material that I work on, give their feedback on it, and so that we're going to be sure that we are getting the basics for food addiction counseling. And then after we measure up education and work experience, we'll have to find at the end, how long and how many hours you will need under supervision, and then you will have basically they will certify you as a food addiction counselor. So if I just explain that a little better, the inFACT is a school that teaches the material, gives you the exams, so that you can start working as a food addiction counselor. The Nordic Baltic Certification Regional Board gives you the certification as FAI, food addiction, no, FI counselor, FAC, I'm sorry, food addiction counselor. And when we have started doing this, we are hoping that the IC&RC, which is the international part of it, will take a look at it and give us the international food addiction counseling degree, which we will upgrade up to once that happens in the hierarchy of things. So this is just to explain, and I think I explained it to at least most of you. Some people have already experience and will be able after this, the exams to just start and getting their certification valued, because their work experience in food addiction treatment is already there. Some will not, so they may need certain hours that we need to evaluate with each person as we finish the course, and I will let you know, each person know what would be suggested. But I want to emphasize that everyone here can start doing work as food addiction counselor, and I actually encourage you to try to get some clients that will know that you are studying, and some already have clients as working on food addiction counseling, and so that you can use the time, the next 4 months in order to use the material that you are getting here and practice with your clients as much as possible. That will give you the questions, I don't know what to do in this and that circumstance. And so we can use our lessons and classes to go over that, discuss that within your study group, and or with me or any of the other teachers as is appropriate. Okay. So having said this is kind of the basics. I just wanted to clear up the times, because I probably haven't been able to be clear enough, and also because I did make changes with the times. When I set up the times for the course, I was hoping, or I was actually, there were people from the West Coast of the United States going to participate. And so this is why I set up all the lecture times at 10 a.m. Eastern U.S. time. This was so that I would find the time that all time zones, or almost, would be able to participate, so that the Americans on the West Coast, which are 3 hours prior to the East Coast, I believe, would be able to wake up early and do the course. And then, of course, there was always the question of the Australian, Monica, our Australian lady, and it's in the middle of the night for her now. So she's fast asleep, and she says hi to everyone. And we'll have a special session tomorrow morning instead. And I don't know if she will be able to come into any of our Saturday sessions. I don't know. She may try at one point, but you will all meet her in the spring here in Iceland for sure. And some of you may even come in with her on the Sunday morning sessions. So this is why for the Europeans, it's, we're doing this in the afternoon and into the evening of a Saturday, which is not maybe the greatest time for anybody. But we needed to find a time that, people would be able to do this with work, along with work. And the course is really designed to be so that people will be able to do this with work. And so once I realized that we were not going to have people join us from the West Coast, I decided to start the study group. And just to clear up, we have 4 hours a week. 2 hours is working on the student manual with me, Esther Helga. The other 2 hours are the other teachers, the lectures of other teachers. So I'm suggesting that the people that, it's convenient for, that would be everybody in the States and Canada, some of the people here in Iceland maybe also, to do the Saturday session, the 2-hour Saturday session with me 2 hours prior to the lecture session. So you have to wake up at 8 o'clock, you guys in the States. And then you will also be done around noon, which I'm pretty sure will be good for you. So I'm suggesting that all the people from the States will need to be in that study session with me, and then the lecture will start at 10 to 12. And this is Eastern U.S. time. So the ones that will have difficulty with either doing the whole 4 hours on a Saturday, or won't be able to join us, or rather prefer to do it on a Sunday morning, we will have a 2-hour Sunday morning session. That would be 8 o'clock Icelandic time, which is in the middle of the night for the U.S. people. So I'm not expecting you guys to be there. But it is 8 o'clock Icelandic time. That would be 9 o'clock Norway, Spain time zone. It will be 10 o'clock Jordan and Israel time. And it will be 6 o'clock in the afternoon Australian time. So for Europeans, Australia, some of you may want to do this session on a Sunday morning. And I kind of need to know where you're going to put yourself, if you want to do the Saturday or the Sunday. So you let me know, hopefully today or tomorrow. And I will be sending out a Zoom invitation for the session tomorrow to everybody who I know will attend. And if anybody is not able to come in on a Saturday at any time, you can always join us at the Saturday morning session, except maybe the Americans. I don't know if you want to wake up so early in the morning. I'm sorry about this, but you know, we have this incredible time diversity, and somehow we needed to find a way with this. And I hope you will all be patient with this and find your way of being here with us. So I will open that up to discussions just in a little while and for questions. I just wanted to say that next week we will start the study sessions. So next Saturday we will start at like 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern time for the study session for those that are going to be participating at that time, and then following is a 2-hour lecture session. Then, and I will be doing that lecture, and that is the basics on food addiction and food addiction treatment. So it's like an introduction to how, you know, theories behind food addiction, eating disorders, or harmful eating, and such matters. And then for those that won't be able to do the Saturday, and I'm going to be doing the Sunday, we'll be doing the 2 hours student manual session on a Sunday morning. But there's only going to be one time for the lecture. And if you miss the lecture, you can go into Dropbox. It's going to be there. It's going to be taped, and you can listen to it. And you can also listen to all of the student manual study sessions, both the Saturday one and the Sunday one. So they will be also on Dropbox. And so I think it might be interesting also to listen to each other's sessions, because with different people there's going to be different talks, and I'm hoping that the work will be you know, joint effort and questions and answers. We're talking things over and finding solutions and ways. So the following Saturday or weekends are going to be just like that. I sent you in an email the lecture times and what's going to be, who is going to be lecturing and teaching. The February 18th, it's going to be Vera Tarman on neuro and biological detriments of food addiction. 25th of February, it's going to be food plants and nutrition, Teresa. Chapter 6, I'm putting all the chapters in there so that you see which chapter we're going to be working on for each week. And then we will have March 4th, screening, assessing, and mapping. And Bitten Johnson will be doing that one, and I'm really looking forward to this one. March 11, we'll have the lecture on different counseling techniques with Phil Verdell. We'll have on the March 18th, 12-step recovery. I'm very happy to have Mary Fushi do the 12-step recovery work. She is one of the people that I really, really look up to for her wonderful 12-step dedication. And March 25th, we will have a lecture on education and research, lecturing, education and research, and other things, I'm sure, with Phil Verdell. On the April 1st, we will have eating disorders versus food addiction with Marty Lerner. Marty Lerner has been working with eating disorders, which he claims are all food addiction, for almost 40 years as a psychologist, and I'm very excited to listen to him. He's incredible. The one on ethics, I'm trying to get a hold of this lady. I'm not going to say her name because she's not come back to me about it, but she had said she'd do it for us and with us, and she is over one of the largest treatment center in the States. So I think that would be kind of wonderful to have her do the ethics with us. The ethics is something very, very the ICNRC and the Nordic Baltic really put a strong emphasis on learning about ethics. So it's going to be good to have someone like her do that. A lecture on hormonal detriments of appetite and meds in obesity, Vera Tarman, again. Then we will have a chapter on family and codependency, and that I had put myself there. That may change, we'll see. Then we have May 6th coming to a close. Other and different methods of treatment with Biddle Waddell. We will have the May 13 relapse and prevention. Bitten Johnson again, and learning from her incredible work through the last, almost 30 years of treating food addiction, and doing all kinds of interesting work around that. And then comes May 20th, which is the last Saturday, how to start your own practice with Esther, with me. And what I am going to be suggesting to everybody that is going to be able to come and finalize the training here in Iceland is that you be here on the Saturday. So you try to maybe make it to come here on the Friday, the latest, before, so that we can actually use the day live and work on yes, how to start your own practice, but then I would prepare you for the exams, and we would do the exams on the Saturday, if at all possible, for the ones that can. I'm thinking of doing this, if possible, so that we will have that out of the way. And about the exams, what I want to say about them is that they take probably for most of you a little over an hour, 1 to 2 hours to do, maybe for some less. And what the exams consist of is questions from all the chapters in the student manual and workbook. And you will get, at the end of each chapter, you will get those study questions, and then you will get the answers to them. So that you really get the questions to, most of the questions for the exams beforehand. So if you really work week by week on understanding the concepts of the student workbook, then you're going to be quite safe. We will also have cases. I think it's 3 cases, questions on different cases. And then when you do your lecture, that will be evaluated as part of the final grade. And that you will be doing in the 5 days following at the intensive. So if anybody, which I don't see that happening, I'm telling you. If it happens that somebody does not quite get the grades for the exam, we will find a time for that person to do it again while you are here in Iceland. So it's not a question of trying to fail anybody, but it is seeing if people know the stuff we're teaching. So then on the Saturday, I am hoping for all and everybody that is able to go to the geysers, to have a trip into nature here in Iceland. We'll take a look at the geysers and the waterfalls and glaciers probably, and do sightseeing over that day. So have fun with each other. And then on the Monday, we will be starting a treatment. Each and every one goes into a treatment setting. You will be, we'll go over the process of screening and intake and assessment, and then just what happens in the treatment, food plans, what to do with the food, the requirements, and I think for some that haven't done any treatment in food addiction or eating disorder, it's going to be an interesting experience, I'm sure. And I'm thinking that, you know, for the most of the week, for the 5 days that we're going to be doing this, it's all abstinent food. So you're all going to be basically doing abstinence, a defined abstinence. Some people have had the defined abstinence for years, and I myself, I'm going to be celebrating on the 8th of February 14 years of back-to-back gray sheet abstinence. And that is a miracle within itself. I'm telling you. Just so that you know it, your teacher, your principal here is probably the sickest puppy of you all. Hey. So, but I've been abstinent and grateful for all these years. And so we'll go over what kind of abstinence I do and what other types of abstinence there are, and you will have learned all about that by that time. So during this period of time, we'll be going over treatment in outpatient and 24/7 treatment, or 24-hour treatment for X long times. And you'll be experiencing that. And then we will do your lectures. And we will talk about different counseling methods, and maybe try out and practice a little bit with each other. I actually have been thinking about whether to have maybe a couple of people coming in for treatment with you, so that that we would have people there that are not in the training. And I'm kind of thinking about it, and I'm not sure if I will do it, but we'll see. You know, maybe a possibility, and it might be an experience for all of us to get the chance to see some people come into treatment with us. So we'll see about that. And then there is graduation, and you will get your certificate and instructions for clinical supervision for how long. And you are all done and ready to just jump into the world and start doing great things. That's for sure. So yes, I'm going to say about accommodations. Accommodation are not included in the price. So, but I should next week be able to have prices on accommodations here at Eidabaki, where we're going to be doing all of this. And you can get really cheap one for sleeping bag arrangements, and then you can get more extravagant ones. And I'll see you know, about maybe 3 or 4 options that you can choose from. And some are going to be sleeping in my house, and I can have a few people here. Not everybody, unfortunately. I wish my house was that big, but it isn't. But everything in Eidabaki is just like a 5-minute, distance, and so we're all going to be close to each other. I may even get a place where we're all staying together for at least for the 5 days. So I'm still in the process of working on that. Okay, so this is all the practicalities about the training, the times, and what to do, and all of that. I would love for you to ask questions at this point, and so that we can clarify anything that you're not clear about, and we can continue to do that, because I try to be clear. I know that I am my first language is not English, and even though I think it's pretty good for an Icelander, I'm happy with it. I'm proud of myself. It might be difficult for some, to understand, and please feel free to just ask questions if you're not clear about anything that I say at any point. You need more and better clarification, please just let me know, and we'll clarify. We'll find words to do that. So at this point, I think it would be good for you guys to open up for questions, concerns about the training, the lodging, and all of that. And then we will go into, I think, introductions pretty soon. So questions, Judy.
Mr. Helger, could you just reiterate what time that Sunday session will be in Iceland? I couldn't catch those times.
Oh, that one.
The groups.
Yes. That one is going to be very early morning Icelandic time, so it's in the middle of the night for you.
Okay, so it's 6 a.m. What time was it for you?
8 a.m. Icelandic time, and we are 5 hours ahead of you.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Esther, it's Mary here.
Yes.
Can you? I don't disagree with it, but I'm just curious as to why the course name changed from food addiction to food abuse.
Okay, that is a good question, and I actually haven't decided yet.
Okay.
That might be up to us to decide on. I have always talked about food addiction myself, and we at Food Addiction Institute for certain, and the people that I've been working with in this field, we talk a lot about this. What should we say? How should we approach this? Because when people hear the word addiction, they think of, the people, the alcoholics laying in the gutter, and they don't see food addiction or food abuse, overweight as anything like that. But the main reason that I put abuse there is that the original workbook that we are working from, I'm just showing you the manual here, the original one, is that they say alcohol and drug abuse counselor workbook. And so that I decided to do food abuse counselor workbook for now. And I was expecting this question. And I think we need to discuss it and come to a conclusion with it. We've talked about, and within the chapter, I talk about food substance abuse dependency.
Yeah.
And so we have wordings there that we might really need to talk about and find the best way. And, as I'm saying, I do not pretend to know it all. It is all in the making. And you guys are in making it happen at this point also. And so your views, your experiences really matter as we go forward with this course.
Yes, I'd like to say, give some input on the abuse and addiction concepts. I think from what I know, and I definitely don't know it all, but there's a spectrum, ranging from wherever you want to call it, and all the way through to addiction. And I think for many people it's true that the name addiction is that alcoholic in the gutter, but if people understand the brain chemistry that happens and compare it to the same MRI locations in the brain to a cocaine addict or to a marijuana addict or whatever, suddenly it's a whole different picture. So that's on the neuroscience point of view. From my own personal journey, when I went to OA meetings and I was a compulsive overeater, it was all very, for me, and I can only talk, for me it was very wishy-washy. And when I changed my definition to food addiction, I am a food addict. It was life and death. And I knew there were certain things that I had to do and other things that I had to not do if I wanted to live, number one. Yeah. And then sane, productive, normal life. So I think it's so important with how it's presented to people, how and where people connect to the concepts, and also I think understanding the neuroscience of it can really change a person's perspective, that it's not just, oh, you have no willpower, get your act together kind of thing. So for whatever that's worth.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for this. And I so agree with you. And then on the other hand, we have the whole world of professionals out there that have the hardest time acknowledging food as an addictive substance and or understanding addiction at all. And I think the point you're making, I know that Bitten will say something about that maybe a little later on, about the brain chemistry. Once I think we kind of find a way to really let people know that this is a brain disease, basically, you know, it will make a difference for people. And to know that it's not a character flaw, you know, that we gain weight. Thank you for that, Lior. Anybody else on any questions or concerns at this point?
You mentioned possibly bringing people for treatment in Iceland.
Yeah.
Now, would you be looking to us to bring people for potential treatment, or would you be finding people for treatment in Iceland? Can you explain a bit more?
Well, it's an idea that I just actually got yesterday, so I haven't really developed it.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it might be interesting, and I actually had thought about maybe bringing in maybe a couple of Icelandic people, but that's also a thought, Sandra, to you know, if there were people that you guys knew about that you think would benefit from coming, you know, that's an idea. Mm-hmm. And at this point, I want to keep it open, and for a week or so, and then maybe we can start deciding something like this. I just wanted to throw it out there.
Yeah, and what days are we in Iceland again?
In the Saturday is the 20th. It's a Saturday the 20th, when I would love for you all to be here, if at all possible.
So flying.
So that would mean, yeah, so that would mean that you'd have to, the people coming from the States, flying into Iceland, you leave in, oops. Hope that's not scary. So people leaving from the States or Canada, you leave in the evening and you arrive early morning at 6 a.m. in Iceland. So it's an overnight flight basically, and it would be better if you leave Thursday night, be here on a Friday to kind of recuperate and be able to start work on Saturday, if at all possible. If not, if you were coming in on a Saturday morning, you'd probably be pretty sleepy over the day, and not the greatest, but we could work with it.
And it runs until which day?
Friday.
So Friday.
Yes. And we'll probably be finishing up around 1, 2 o'clock on Friday. So at that time, you'd be able to stay maybe a little longer, do some more sightseeing or whatever you want to do, or just leave, you know, whatever you need to do. Okay, questions?
Esther, can you hear me?
Yes?
Okay. I wanted to ask you the treatment for different kinds of addictions. We are going to deal with, we are going to focus mainly in food addiction and sugar addiction during the course, that's for sure. But is this also applicable to other kinds of addiction?
Yeah, well, we will be talking about different addictions. And in the workbook, there is material that it is basically comes from treatment for alcohol and drugs. And I'm inclined to keep some of it in there so that we will have a comparison to what what's being done to alcohol and drug addiction, and what may be the differences in working with eating and food addiction. So we will be looking on at also at some point what different addictions are there. You know, behavioral addictions. What's the difference between behavioral addictions and between substance abuse or dependence? So I think that's a very, very important factor, because my teacher, Stefan, which is one of some of my best mentors in addiction, he states that if you have one addiction, you will definitely have two other.
I will address that, Esther.
Yes, I know.
I will certainly talk about what we call addiction interaction disorder, one brain illness with many outlets. So that's in my lectures.
Wonderful.
Okay, that's good.
Wonderful.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
Yes, I have a question, Esther.
Yes.
I can see here some people have experience or have worked with food addiction, or they even have certificates like Bitten maybe. I don't have any experience with food addiction. Is it easy to cope with other people here? Can you understand my question?
Can you state the question again, please?
Okay, I can see that many students here have experience in food addiction.
Yes,
Okay.
and Peyton is, yes,
Yeah.
Peyton is one of the teachers and has 30-year experience in treatment with food addicts, just to clarify that. But you were asking again, I'm sorry.
Okay, what I mean is that if they have experience in food addiction or certificate, what is the reason that they are here? This is what I mean. Can you understand?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, you know, as I told you yesterday, or I will tell them, I am a dietitian, but I usually work with healthy lifestyle for people. I've always, I'm giving lessons for people how to monitor the portions. Okay, it's either my first time to work on food addiction issues, but I can see here many students, they have good knowledge about it.
Oh, absolutely. And but this training is literally the first training in the world that you can have a valued certificate for, you know, participation.
Okay.
It's the first one. And this is the first course of it.
Yes, I know, but I mean, if I can, I'm starting from zero, which is fine, right? Okay, thank you.
Absolutely, for sure.
Thank you.
And I'm going to say to you, Dima, I think it is wonderful to have you on board, both with your, you know, big experience with being a dietitian, working with the healthy model, with your personal experience, as I'm sure we will hear more about, and, you know, going through the motions of the whole thing. You will be looking at it with very, very new eyes, as, you know, some of us that have been, you know, working in the field, having had treatment, 12-step programs, abstinence for years maybe, we have certain knowledge that that benefits us, but it's going to be wonderful to hear your fresh view of things and good questions, I'm sure. Thank you so much.
The truth of the matter is that you've been working with food addicts for a long time. You just had no idea, and you'll find that out.
Excuse me?
The truth is that you've been working with food addicts for a long time. You just don't know what they are.
Exactly.
So you'll find that you'll learn tools that you'll be able to identify who these people are, and then it will just be like a launching pad for you, and you'll be able to make a lot more progress with them.
Yes, that is a great response. Thank you.
Thank you, David, and thank you, Dima.
I have a question.
Yes.
Will dual diagnosis be addressed, because that has a big impact on certain people and on their recovery? Various kind of mental disorders or difficulties. Will that be addressed in the course?
We will talk about that, and I'm sure Bitten is going to be, talking about that in her lecture for sure, and most likely me and others talk about that too.
Okay.
Of course, depending on our background, we're going to be having some people that have like a background in health profession or the social profession. They'll be better equipped to do that kind of diagnosis than, somebody that doesn't. So, every one of us is going to be having different strengths within being a food addiction counselor or abuse counselor. So that's why we're going to be talking about referrals also. Who can we refer to in order for a person that we suspect that has maybe comorbid, some other diseases. How are we going to have that assessed if I don't know how to do it or don't have the knowledge of doing that? So this is something that I don't really have a big knowledge or possibility of knowing. So I do send people off to psychologists and psychiatrists for that kind of a diagnosis, for example. And we will learn in this that we need to know our limitations as a counselor. And counselors are a counselor. They're not a know-it-all. We are a guiding force. We're guides. We get a person, we see a person, we help the person further on their way to recovery, whatever that recovery includes. So, but an excellent question, Lior.
Esther?
Yes?
This is Sherry, and
yes.
I was just wondering if people, until we get to know each other, when they talk, if they could just identify themselves first, it would be
absolutely. Thank you, Sherry.
Thanks.
Actually, it's on top of the hour at this point, and I was going to give, like I always say, let's have a 3-minute pause because if I say any longer, it's going to be like half hour or something. No, just a short pause, and we'll come back maybe in the latest 3 to 5 minutes. And once we come back, I would really like us to, I'd really like us all to get acquainted and to hear everybody. And I was hoping that Bitten would start as we start in a few minutes. Is everybody okay about this?
Yep.
Thank you. I'm going to mute me just for a second too.
Okay.